Hi, my name is Tom Price and I'm a retail and consumer insight analyst at AHDB. Here's an update on Lamb's recent retail performance, and I'll also be taking you through the profile of a typical Lamb shopper. And whilst consumers are still being impacted by the cost of living crisis, and lamb is one of the more expensive proteins, volumes have actually grown year on year for the 52 weeks ending the 14th of April due to volume growth for primary lamb specifically. And so we saw this growth towards the end of 2023, and this has continued this year. So this has been driven by more primary lamb on promotion, specifically for roasting joints like leg roasting joints, with retailers notably boosting sales at Christmas and Easter. And then looking at meat-free year-on-year volume change, it has declined by greater than pork and beef, so it's not performing too well, and it's actually performing worse than those other two proteins. Across the meat, fish and poultry category, prices have continued to rise for most proteins. But lamb has bucked the trend because in the last 12 weeks to the 14th of April, we've seen greater volumes of lamb on promotion, which has caused a 3.2% year-on-year price decline. And this is because the majority of these promotions were temporary price reductions. So as a result, we've seen greater volumes of lamb purchased per shopper. And whilst lamb is one of the most expensive proteins, other factors are driving demand, such as events like Easter and consumer budgets easing. And we can see why its performance has been strong, as there's been an increase in volumes purchased per shopping trip, as well as a number of shoppers buying lamb, so they've been enticed in by the large volumes on promotion, specifically for roasting joints, like leg roasting joints. And most of lamb's growth is coming from switching, as we've seen large volumes switch from other proteins to lamb, and this just highlights the importance of lamb at Easter, which has really driven its recent performance over the last 12 weeks. And then looking at where this growth is coming from in terms of total lamb volumes, this has come from all shopper groups, but actually it's coming from the older demographics in particular. So for processed lamb, shoppers aged 65 plus account for the largest proportion of processed volumes. But it's actually seen a decline in volumes for this age group, which has contributed to the overall decline in processed volumes. But despite this, middle-aged groups have seen year-on-year volume growth for processed lamb, and as a result, this group now accounts for the second largest proportion of processed sales. So not all groups are seeing year-on-year volume declines, and actually the middle-aged group is becoming more important, specifically for processed. And when looking at social class, more well-off consumers account for just over half of total lamb volumes, but those who are less well-off have seen a larger volume growth year-on-year at 13.4% versus just 3.9%. So other groups are actually becoming more important for lamb. And all shopper demographics are seeing greater volumes of lamb purchase per shopper year on year. And some younger demographics, such as the middle family, have become more important for lamb, but this hasn't filtered through to the youngest demographics, as these have actually lost shoppers year on year. So demand for lamb is still driven by these older shoppers. It's also important to consider the ethnic origin of consumers, as Muslims are over-indexing in the amount of lamb consumed, as they make up just 6% of the population but account for 20% of all lamb consumption. And there's also a much greater percentage of Muslims who eat lamb weekly compared to the general population. And just finally, coming on to AHDB's 2024 lamb outlook prediction. So we expect lamb volumes to fall 2% year on year due to eating out, not returning to pre-COVID levels, and the cost of living crisis continuing to hit retail sales. So lamb volumes within retail are predicted to remain steady in the first half of 2024, and in the second half we expect to see some improvement year on year. But out-of-home consumption is expected to struggle versus 2023, and this is with dine-in, on-the-go and takeaway volumes expected to decline year on year. So whilst we see strong demand for lamb during events like Easter, it's low demand at other times in the year alongside cost of living concerns not disappearing fully, mean that overall volumes could suffer, and this uptake that we've recently seen over Easter is likely not here to stay. We have lots of analysis and insight available on our website, so you can go there to find our recent articles, as well as the latest figures on lamb demand, volumes and prices, of specific cuts within retail and food service. And then if you have any questions, please drop us an email. Thank you for listening.